Okay, it's a special one.
Right.
All right, brother. Barbells and
Special
noise.
one.
Barbells
Barbells
and
noise.
noise. Talk to me.
Have we started now?
Yeah, go for it.
Have we started? Oh, yeah, it's recording now. Lovely. Mate, congratulations on 100 podcasts. That's amazing.
I appreciate it, mate. You are the chosen one.
I think you had no one else this week. I think I just fell into place. I don't think I was deliberately chosen to be under it. I just think I just think you've exhausted your whole list of people, and no one else wants to fucking know now. This is the 100th and probably last podcast.
It is after you anyway.
Shitloads more. Yeah, man. Yeah, maybe last one for a while. Maybe make a comeback and do 101st. Nah, well done, mate. Honestly, it's fucking big, that 100 podcasts. A lot of people would have bowed out a lot sooner without really making a dent in Spotify. You've done brilliant, mate. So well done.
I appreciate
Which
it,
been
mate.
your favourite podcast up to now? Do you reckon? Which been your favourite up to now?
Mate, honestly,
or name some contenders. Name some contenders for your favourite.
Okay. I like some of the wacky ones, right? I like some of the ones that are a little bit out there and they're pushing the boundaries, like holistic health and like philosophy and then like mental wellness and shit like that. So, like Rebecca Allen was a really cool one to have a conversation with her. Like Megs Can Lift. She's just an absolute wacky lady that basically is a weightlifter that benches, so she does both.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know her, man. She's a strong girl, man. She did. I think she was the one that. Is that Meg Squats? Is a name on Instagram?
Nah. Megs Can Lift.
Megs Can Lift. Oh no, I do know her. Yeah, nah, she's fucking strong, man.
Yeah, she's just had twins.
Yeah, she wants to give one of them up for adoption and see what happens in 20 years, whether or not they turn out the same. Do an experiment. If you're listening to this, give it one of your kids for adoption, just for an experiment and for a laugh, see what happens.
See, not everyone is psychologically deranged as you are, lad.
Like if I had the multiple children, I would definitely like put them in different directions, just see what would happen. I'd also want to like give them to parents that think that they're better than me, and then I'd parent one of them, and then in like say I don't know, 18 years, like meet up, be like, right, which one looks like they're going towards prison, which one looks like they're going towards like a decent university, right? Which one looks like they're going to be a billionaire? Basically, who's the best parent? But if you've got the same genes in each of them, it's going to be a fair. I just want a controlled environment to experiment on people, mate. That's all.
They're definitely not going to let you have any kids, never mind more than one. So
I'm genuinely considering a vasectomy, mate. Like, we don't need more of me. We don't need more of you. Like the world does not need more of you and I. It really doesn't. Like it didn't need either of us. To be fairly honest, it's just my mother's. It's just my mother's like sort of was too lazy to get an abortion, basically. And your mum for some reason wanted to have you. I don't know why.
She wanted four.
I was gonna say she actually wanted several of you, and Shadji was like, oh, "Fuck that,
I'm not having any more."
Yeah, so for those that don't know, for those that listen to this, Alex's mum wanted four of him, had him, and then had no more children. In fact, she actively avoided children.
Yeah.
Right. Your dad was wearing 3 condoms after that, mate.
Made out of bamboo, mate.
Yeah. Just fucking like pulling out all the stops to avoid another mistake that resembles you.
Hey,
right. Whereas my mum,
I'm the only blonde person in my family.
Yeah, see, I still don't understand how that works.
Work that one
right?
out,
mate. And that genuinely makes me question like your actual origins. Maybe it was a case of Maybe it was a case of your mum could only buy one child and she couldn't get another 3, right? I don't know. Maybe they ran out of stock.
I was given by Odin.
Whereas with me, mate. Like my mum, by the way, who's a nurse, and you should expect that she has some medical sort of knowledge. She didn't realise she was pregnant with me until she was 5 months gone. She actually thought I was an ovarian cyst, which to a degree was correct. Right?
It's very correct.
Like
it explains a lot.
Yeah, and then like for the first sort of I don't know, first sort of 14 years of my life, basically, when I started benching, I was a walking advert for abortion. And that was how I was categorized as. I mean, I swear she stamped that at the back of my passport when I was a kid, just so other like people like customs could have a bit of a laugh at me. If anyone listen to this who's against abortion, like there's going to be another minute or two of this, so just by all means switch off and make a brew.
Honestly, like,
Look,
yeah, honestly, you see them like, I'll drive down one of the main streets in Christchurch, right? I'll go past the women's hospital, and you'll see them all there protesting against abortion. I'm like, look, we're in the fucking 21st century now, mate. People can do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like, come on.
Yeah, mate, abortion's mint. Abortion's the fucking best, right? Like, I commend anyone that just uses abortion as like, if you can't afford condoms and you've got free healthcare, abortions are like really cool, right?
But also, you can get free condoms.
Like, yeah, but that's effort, right? Like that's you got to do that. I mean, some people might have to do that several times, but you only got to get one abortion.
No,
right?
all you got to do, right?
You don't have to.
Is you wait for Freshers Week, you go in, act like you're a fucking history student, and then they give you like all these like bloody banana scented bloody condoms and shit, and you're just like, there you go, stock up for the year. You're only going to need 2.
I heard once, right? It was so when I was at uni, there was this like elective that you could take. It was called Introduction to Women's History or something, or like or Introduction to like Feminine History. Some fucking bullshit module that you could do if you just wanted an easy life, right? Anyway, like this guy was on about standing up why he might well have done it and just gone, can I just say before we all begin, I'm sick of hearing about his story. It's now time to hear about her story. And then just sit down and let the bitches come to you. That was what I fucking heard. And they're like, that's like annoyingly a fantastic idea, right? I mean, don't do it. Don't do it because like you will be slated when they finally see through your bullshit, right? After you've probably given several of them chlamydia, right? And then you'll be slated for it forever. So just don't do it. But at the same time, that is a fucking brilliant idea in the short term.
Look,
thing is, I know so many girls that would actually go for that as a line, right? And that's kind of embarrassing, especially given that today, the day of this podcast that we're doing on, is International Women's Day, right? That's kind of a bad sentiment in 2021. Women still fall for that. Yeah, they won't go for someone that deadlifts fucking 500 pounds.
Hey, she doesn't want a skinny man, you know. Like it's
I want a skinny man. I want a skinny man just to carry around my gym bag. Right? Like I don't make a powerlifter, dude. I fucking have the biggest gym bag in the world. It's almost has to fucking go through customs every time I go through the gym. Right? And, the security machines, X-ray. Like, did you pack this bag yourself, sir? That well, no one else is fucking psychotic enough to have several different types of knee sleeves to bring with them, depending on how their fucking knees are feeling that day. I think I've got like in my gym bag like 400 quid's worth of stuff that I've like either been bought for me, got cheap, or stolen, right? In order to fucking like pursue a semi-serious powerlifting career. Right? It's a lot of hard fucking work. It's a lot of hard fucking work dragging that up the 2 flights of stairs that get to my gym and then piling it all back in there as well. And my gym bag's like a fucking tent bag, dude. Like you pack it all up neatly in that. Try if you're leaving the gym in a rush, like my bag doesn't zip up all the way and half my shit falls out. And the other day I had it where I left the gym and my chalk box was open and my zip, I couldn't do it up all the way, like I say, because it's like a fucking zip, man. Mate, it'd like fucking Hansel and Gretel had been doing cocaine and they needed to find out where they needed to, like, do the trail of breadcrumbs, but the cocaine instead. Fucking, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that needs to be cleaned up by someone, but not by me because I need to go home and eat.
Tell you what, mate, mine's the same. It's like fucking Mary Poppins' bag. Like I jump in it and I've got like, rolls of tape that I've like, gone missing, fallen off the back of a lorry.
Are you sure that's not Ted Bundy's bag?
Mate, right? that's gone over my head. I've not watched the tapes.
So Ted Bundy, he had a bag of stuff, didn't he? Like ties and like I've seen the documentary, and also I think it's always sunny took the piss out of it, and he had like fucking I shouldn't be smiling as I'm saying this, but he's. I'm just saying because it reminds me of like your gym bag. Yeah, you got loads of tape for hook grip, haven't you?
Yeah, man. Like otherwise your thumbs
Yeah,
start
you
fucking
pussy.
screaming
Just
at you.
let your fucking thumbs burn, mate. I hook grip for deadlift because I've not got a vagina. And I had a burn mark like all across my thumbs for like 6 weeks. Now my thumbs, that part of skin on my thumb, it's just fucking mate. It's like a fucking war veteran. It's fucking like skin on there. It doesn't burn anymore. It just doesn't fucking flinch, right? But whereas you're there with your tape, fucking, I don't want my thumbs to get hurt. You stop being a faggot and get your tape off. Be fine. I'm calling you a faggot and you snatch way more than me.
You don't even know what a snatch is. Never had a snatch in your hand, son.
No, I've not. I've not.
Too busy messing around with those skinny boys
There's a
in your bag.
there's a whole host of jokes I can say there, which I'm just gonna let any listeners make up some of your own. Just think of the word snatch and hands and just decide what you want to do with that.
Snatch is a great movie.
It is my favorite movie of all time. I still watch that film all the time and still laugh just as hard as I do when I first watched it. Which some could be construed as I need to get a fucking life and do actual shit with my day rather than just rewatching the same movie all the time.
You do,
but, mate. It's a fucking great film. There's on YouTube. There's type in Snatch Wars. There's an 8-minute 35-second video, but don't watch that until you've listened to this podcast fully. Don't be a twat. And it's literally like the voice for a Bricktop is put into Darth Vader. It's fucking hilarious. So it's just so well like edited. So go watch that as soon as you finish listening to me and him chatting bullshit about
hey, we put the world to
skinny
rights.
Boys and whatnot.
Skinny boys. Mate, right. This is an issue. Boys. This is an issue, right? And I don't know if it's more than this country, right? But anyway.
Are you attracted to skinny boys, yeah? Is that what you're gonna tell me?
This is what I'm coming out and saying, yeah. Nah, right. You walk down the street, right? And you see a lady that's clearly got it put together. All right. You're 8 or higher, bro. 8 or higher. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, okay, cool. And then she's walking next to an absolute 3 with beer goggles on. Like if a fugly shagged like a hole in the ground, it would come out with this kid. And you're just like, how?
Well, I think some people just work on their personality and don't just like go to the gym all the time and just lift heavy weights and mask the fact they've got no personality like you and me do. I get what you mean. It is crazy. Like when you see those kind of mismatches, it's like, but yet you rarely ever see a really. Actually, no, I say rarely ever see. I've been to Wigan. I was gonna say you rarely ever see like a kind of a good looking guy, well built guy with a woman who is can only be described as a challenge wank at best, right? Like. Like you very rarely see that, but when you do it, it's like it's like when you see like someone walking a cat on a lead, right? And you just have to take a second to go, that's not quite right, but I see what they're doing. Yeah, I know. I had mate when I worked at McDonald's when I was a kid. I had 2 managers who were married.
When you were a kid,
right?
You still work there now.
I don't work there now. Don't be tight. I've got a career, right? Now, when I was 16, I worked at Mackey's, and if you're picturing how bad it is, it was fucking worse. But one funny saving grace of it was I had 2 managers who were married. There was I'll actually I won't disguise the names, right? I just won't say them. It's Ash and Vicky, right? Ash was like skinny as fuck and like 5'6", but like probably weighed 100 pounds soaking wet. Whereas his wife, who was a lovely woman, I'll just put that out as a caveat, was probably, I'm not exaggerating, probably about 270 pounds and the same height as him. And it was at that point that I learned what a feeder was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no way, is that actually a thing? And then I was like, oh shit, now that's kind of weird that that's a thing. But hey, each to their own. Yeah, maybe we should stop talking about people's relationship habits because some people might get offended, and that's the last thing I'd want for
Well,
anyone to do.
big girls
I
need
wouldn't want
loving too,
anyone to get
dude.
offended at anything. Yeah, but they've got to pay. Like,
You're not worth it,
you
mate.
know,
You're not worth it.
no, I'm not worth it. I'm not worth it. But luckily, I've convinced someone that I am, and she's for some reason bought it. Don't know why. She's way better than I am. But like, I'm just saying that some people like should probably have to pay, and that's fine. Prostitution, it should be allowed. It actually should be. If you actually look at the economic and social and health arguments towards prostitution, it should be legalized. That's for another time.
Well, it's legal over here, man. Like,
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Which
yeah.
is
Hey,
when you first were moving to New Zealand, that's what I thought you were moving for.
Well, it's funny because the street where all the prostitutes hang out illegally, like when they're obviously not really registered and all that, the streets that they hand out is called Manchester Street. Bit ironic, I know.
Yeah, so like for me, I'm a big believer in legalizing and state regulating prostitution because it would just be so much safer for them, both from there's a cat there. Man, I was talking about prostitution and all of a sudden your cat turns up. That's
what can I say?
absolutely. Glad you finished sentence for me. Yeah, for me, prostitution should be legalized. I think that the health benefits of it. Obviously, you can make men condoms by law when they're obviously doing it all. The economic reasons, a lot of women can actually you can set a minimum wage for them, whereas a lot of them right now are doing it for very very little. You can get them all STD checked, so it's better for their health. You know, there's less chance of serious illnesses being passed on from person to person. You can get security and stop prostitutes getting sexually assaulted, which must baffle people. That's the thing, but it is. Obviously, that needs to stop happening. So yeah, there's loads of arguments to legalizing it. Plus, if they do legalize it, you can finally get someone who doesn't want to just be repulsed by you, which I'm sure you'd be really thrilled about.
I mean, I've got my pussy right here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my cat loves me. That's all I need.
Yeah, but like even your cat gets horrified when you get naked.
Well, yeah, she does turn away when I'm in
I
the
don't
shower.
get horrified.
Gets a bit weird.
Yo, so today, what's on the agenda to talk about? I mean, I know we've been like 18 minutes through this, but do we actually have an agenda to speak about your 100th podcast?
What do you think this is? The BBC? Are you like an interviewee and I'm like bloody Jeremy Kyle or something? Well, you would definitely.
I mean, I was hoping
the type of
for that.
To be Jeremy Kyle.
Well, not anymore. The bastard doesn't fucking work anymore, does it? Because of the whole thing. Yeah, someone like a whole thing happened with that. Google it. Google Jeremy Kyle might be cancelled. Yeah, go on. What's on the agenda today? What do you want to talk about?
What is?
Do you want to talk about me?
No one wants to know about you, fella. What is Barbells and Noise? Tell me.
Oh shit! Yeah,
that's asked you this 20 minutes ago. You tit.
I ignored you and started talking about how I was a walking advert for abortion. So, so barbells. So let's get serious, man. Barbells and Noise is Barbells and Noise is the name of my strength conditioning company. It's basically I see it more as a movement, where basically we lift heavy weights with barbells and we make a lot of noise doing it. I came up with the name because like I like in the day I like make noises to myself. Like I'll be walking around like the apartment or I'll be in my car and I'll just make odd noises out of nowhere, and my girlfriend picked up on it and was like, "Is there something wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Possibly, but nothing that's on paper." And when I'm in the gym, like when I'm training, I make a lot of noises, just like Ronnie Coleman-esque noises. Just going like, "Woo, yeah, buddy!" And shit. And I started doing that with my clients before I had a name. I just thought Barbells and Noise sounded cool, so yeah, check out my website www.barbellsandnoise.com. and just see what I do, especially those that are in the north of the UK, because that could be helping you if you want me to, if you need someone to help you with stuff. We do. One of the big things we do is powerlifting. I'm a powerlifter myself. I've been doing it for about a year and a half, 2 years. In that time, I've made progress for myself, but I want to help other people get into a sport that I otherwise would not have chosen. Before that, I did rugby for ages, and I was adamant I was going to do rugby until my joints would no longer allow me. But then I started powerlifting, and that was a lot of fun. I have several powerlifters at the moment working with me, a lot of them making considerable gains. And it's I want to keep growing that. I think for a lot of people who don't know what sport to get into, powerlifting could be the one for them, because it's literally about them the whole way through. Unlike with team sports, where often you have to fit into a team and be with other people, if you find a good gym that has a good atmosphere, you can thrive as a powerlifter or as a weightlifter even as well, Olympic weightlifter, because it's about you, granted, but you'll have a support network for it. And I didn't realize how big of a support network or how big of a community powerlifting was prior to joining it. Secondly, we do a lot of strength and conditioning coaching for people that are trying to get into sport, particularly youth. Sorry, trying to get better at sport, particularly youth athletes. So when I was a kid, I really wanted to play for rugby, and I got to the stage where I was 16, 17. I just realised probably not going to happen, and I couldn't really understand why. So I then thought, like, how many people that were like me are finding the same problem? How many people that were like me can't play rugby professionally, or can't play football professionally, or basketball, whatever sport it may be, but they love it and they've got all the talent in the world, but they just might not have the physicality to compete at that elite level? Well, I'm trying to bridge that gap. I'm trying to improve people who are youth athletes' ability physicality from being just normal and mediocre, not mediocre, sorry, just normal and sort of like undeveloped, to being stronger and actually fulfilling their full potential and learning how to be better and how to be stronger and how to how to sort of become that next level athlete. Because that's something we've not got in this country. That's something we've not got. In America, they've got it in abundance. If you're in middle school and you're like a big dude, or you're a fast female sprinter or whatever it may be, if you've got some kind of obvious physical advantage and you have potential to be good at a sport, you're given a strength and conditioning coach more often than not, because there's loads of money in it over there. When you get to high school, there's S&C coaches there, particularly for American football and basketball, baseball. Women's soccer is getting more and more prevalent for having S&C coaches too now. Then when you get into college, well, there's a reason why the NBA and NFL drafts are so massive, and why when you look at the athletes, you're like, whoa, what's happened there, right? Well, they've had years and years of proper coaching. Whereas over here, we don't have the same advantages. We don't have the same opportunities for our young athletes. And that's such a shame, man, because how much talent do you reckon's gone to waste over the past 30 years just because kids haven't had the chance to learn how to lift and develop their bodies properly to fit into elite sport?
Countless, mate. Absolutely countless. Like I can just remember when I was a PE teacher, did a little bit of like experience as a PE teacher in school in inner city Manny, right? And obviously that's a different kettle of fish. Like, people that actively bring blades to school to use them and all sorts of shit. But at the same time, I'm like talking to these kids, right? And I'm like, oh, well, I can clearly see you'd be an incredible basketball player simply because the way you literally hold a basketball and can just naturally gifted. And I speak to this little kid and he's like, well, you're naturally a runner. And I'm like, these people could be seriously high level athletes, even if they never make it pro, you know what I mean? But they could just push themselves to like a really, really fucking decent standard. Yet we don't provide them with those things. Like, especially in the UK, it's pay to play, right? Scholarships are non-existent.
Whereas over in, if you look at in the US and if you look at in China, there's no surprise why consistently throughout the Olympics, they have been 1 and 2 in terms of total medals. Unsurprising. In America, you've got the college, high school, and middle school strength systems. that have thrived for years in developing athletes that have potential to being athletes that are serious contenders on a global scale. In China, you've got the Olympic weightlifting system that is, in my opinion, the best since the Bulgarians. They have pioneered something that is a cult. That they've pioneered a weightlifting culture that hasn't been done since the Bulgarian and Iron Curtain sort of lifters. You look at the talent, the quality of talent they churn out in many different sports, and it's because kids, I don't want to say pushed into it, but they're certainly given the opportunity to develop themselves into being good athletes from a young age. And what is obvious is that from a young age, they're taught they're taught without realizing it, the importance of building a wide base and focusing on a lot of eclectic facets of sport that in this country we definitely don't do. So, for example, from a young age, they're taught how to mobilize effectively. They're taught the importance of flexibility and the difference between flexibility and mobility. Obviously, flexibility being the range of movement that can passively occur with muscles, whereas the active range of motion that can occur with joints is for mobility. They're taught the difference for that. Now, how many people listen to this won't have realised this and happen to be in the UK? But they've probably heard these terms countless times. They're also taught how to squat, how to clean off the floor, how to just generally do simple lifts, but with proper effectiveness. They're taught how to engage the core and how to actually stimulate themselves to generate enough force to lift heavy and effectively. And the sort of things like periodization, just stuff that we in this country, unless you actively go into coaching, you don't hear about, because there's not enough strength and conditioning coaches available to preach that are good enough as well to preach those things. Well, they're in abundance in China and in America. So what, in my opinion, needs to happen in this country, if we want our athletes to thrive and develop to being at a high enough level, we need to actually give them the fucking platform to do that from. Mm-hmm. We need to give them strength and conditioning coaching in schools. We need to give them like actual help when it comes to getting better or more powerful in their sport. Like, we went to a rugby school, like as we both know, and our school has produced professional rugby players, granted, but how many more could it have produced? Like, we know the talent of lads that we played with when we were at school. Like lads that played, obviously I don't want to name them, so I'll just name the positions in case listening. A lad who played number 8, a lad who played inside centre, right? Another lad who played winger, and another lad that played front row who really could have fucking made something of himself. No, I don't mean you there. Oh yeah, Wobby used to be fat and played in the front row, by the way. In case you listen to this,
still
right? Before he got jacked, he was a podgy little marshmallow, right? It was hilarious watching him PA. Yeah.
I still don't like it though.
But you were close to diabetes. So how many kids did we play with as when we were at school in rugby? How many kids do we know that played football at a decent level that could have made it as a professional athlete? If they'd have had someone to fucking teach them how to lift and get strong, if they'd have had someone to teach them how to fucking taper off, how to look after the bodies, how to warm up effectively before a game, how to recover properly after a game, how many people could have fucking made it at even club level?
But the thing is, like, it's also a little bit of guidance as well, man. You know what I mean? Like, you see these, especially in the UK.
So fucking, you sound like such a stoner. Yeah, it's a little bit of guidance as well, man. But no, I know what you mean. Carry on.
Well, like, especially in the UK, like, kids who have guidance are usually the rich kids, right? Because their parents like seek out these other coaches and other things that they can pay for and do, and all these kids can, like, it's pay to play, like we said. Or you flick it on the other side, and you got the kids who don't necessarily have the guidance, might have a single home or a broken home, or might be an orphan or whatever it is. They've been dealt a shit hand, right? So they don't have a fucking clue. They don't have a clue how to do it. The only thing that they're told by the world is, work harder than everyone else and you can make it. And they're like, okay, cool.
Mhm.
I'll just work harder than everyone else. And then they end up training like 20 hours a fucking day, break themselves, don't know how or why. And then it's like, all right, yeah, you'll never go pro. It's like, why? Because you've like overtrained or under recovered or done something too much and not done this and neglected this. And it's like, all you got to do is give them a little bit of guidance, teach them how to friggin' move, and then just be like, you know what, Key, you've done enough today, mate. I'm proud of you. And they'll be like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. I've done enough. He's proud of me,
Thanks,
sort
yeah.
of thing.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna
No, they
recover.
will absolutely. Well, a common cause of injury among youth athletes comes from overtraining and a combination of overtraining and Oscar shotters. So we see Oscar shotters is where obviously muscles develop a lot faster than our joints, ligaments can cope with. So they start putting a lot of strain around our knees, in particular, knees, hips, all shoulders. But mainly across the femur and knee injuries. But how many of those, if they'd have just thought, just take a bit of time off and just relax for a little while, right? This will catch up. It will be all right. You just need to lower the load, lower the intensity. Maybe you don't play every week for maybe 6 months, and then you won't get injured. You'll be absolutely fine. But this is the dangers of you doing that, right? I played with rugby league with a kid that suffered with a lot of knee problems when we were around 14, 15. And he was amazing. He was an amazing talent. But he ended up tearing his MCL, and it came out, and like at the time it came out of nowhere. But this kid had scouts from, I think, Widnes and Warrington looking at him. He was a bloody great talent. Now he doesn't even play rugby anymore. Like this kid's dream was to play rugby professionally. This bad injury that happened, in my opinion, could have been avoided if they learned about the potential dangers that youth athletes can have. For example, the effects of Oscar shots and shit like that, right? If he'd have learned about that, it'd have been okay. You know, I strongly think he could have easily been playing professional rugby right now. Obviously, 1 in 1,000 people will end up doing that, if that. But still, this guy in particular could have easily done it. He was far better than any of us, right? Only a little bit better than me, though. Only a little bit better than me.
Only a little bit. You were all right. Anyway, no, the thing is, like, these like ACL, MCL, LCL tears like used to be fucking career-ending injuries. You know what I mean? But now we have the capability to like fix them up, and you're going to be better than usual, like better than you were before, in no time at all. Like 6 weeks, and you'll be fucking sound, sort of thing. Yeah, it's like, oh no,
well,
this kid.
I was going to say that's assuming one that the rehab happens fully. Like I constantly, like, if assuming that the physiotherapy that happens in the full extent, and it happens in a manner that is conducive to being good to excelling at sport, then it'll be fine. So here's the thing, right? I was talking to Chris Peel, who lectures out with Salford Uni, and he's worked with Wigan Warriors and Eddie Hall as well. And he was saying to me that a big sort of irony in the S&C world is that physiotherapists, like your general speaking physiotherapists, particularly in the UK, actually doesn't really do much with sport. Like they prepare a lot of injuries, and they get you to a point where you have enough stability and enough strength to do your day-to-day things, right? But they don't actually do. It's very rare that they actually get you to a point where you can excel at sport, which is fucking bizarre. Because if you're thinking about a candidate to be a strength and conditioning coach, there's no one better than a physiotherapist. They know the body, and they know how the body can operate better than your average PT that's just gone through a regular sort of level 3 PT schooling, right? They should be the ones in reality that are becoming S&C coaches, but they don't think to do that, obviously, because a lot of them go into the public sector and then into the private sector from that. But they stay medical, they stay clinical, right?
That's where
a lot of S&C coach.
That's where physical therapists come in.
Yeah, well, they do, but in my opinion, not enough, and sometimes not in the right way. So a lot of strength and conditioning coaches and a lot of rehabilitation coaches often fall short when it comes to sport because I think a lot of them don't prepare that athlete properly for coming back to sport. So for me with powerlifting, I remember when I tore my quadriceps boring pretty badly. I was so frustrated, and even as a coach, I was like adamant that I would be back quicker and quicker and quicker than I should be, because as an athlete, you want to get back quick. You want to get back to doing shit as quick as possible. You don't want to be sat out doing nothing. I was like, I was sort of neglecting a lot of the things I needed to do to get back and actually train properly. And it was only when I was like, you know what, I don't care how long it takes. I'm not going to lift heavy until I've made sure I've done all the right things. I went through an 8-week period of just doing basic ass shit, like you bandy glute bridges, reverse hyperextensions, just not even touching a fucking heavy barbell. And all of a sudden, without even knowing it, I was 6 weeks off PB. And sorry, not 6 weeks, sorry, 8 weeks off PB. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was 8 weeks off PB. And it was only like, because I felt so good in training when I actually started lifting heavy again, that I was like, I'm stronger than I was before. I can fucking lift a PB over deadlift and end up making a 10 kilo PB. And I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Because ages ago, I couldn't fucking stand up straight. Like I'd had, to clarify, I'd had weeks and weeks and weeks of oscillating between rehab and heavy lifting and not making any progress and feeling in agony all the time. 8 weeks of sorting my shit out and actually focusing on what I needed to do properly, not going near anything that was remotely heavy, focusing on the basics, getting my body back moving properly. Another 8 weeks of nice fun flow training. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I feel strong. I'm just going to see what I can do, because I kind of needed a bit of a win. And I had that win. Context of sport, again, back to a team sport, the opposite happened with the guy I used to play rugby with. This guy had physical therapist, and he had a strength and conditioning coach. Neither was working with the other person, and this guy wasn't relaying in between what they were saying. This guy had he'd had a rotator cuff tear, okay, which is, if you're a rugby player, you need for that to heal up properly, because if some big fucker runs at you too hard, that fucker's going to tear off again, right? That's exactly what happened again and again. It happened twice, and this guy didn't learn. Don't play rugby anymore. He can't. His fucking arm don't work proper, right? And I still maintain now, if this guy was to actually take the time to sort his shoulder out, because pretty much every injury, in my opinion, like that's a simple tear or a break, at some point you will get over and you will be better than you were before. In the vast majority of cases, obviously, if an amputation occurs, you're probably not going to have the same advantages that you could have had before. But with a rotator cuff tear, you can get over that shit if you actually put the work in. Only problem is, right, the work's fucking boring. It takes a lot out of you, and it's really demoralizing when you're in there fucking doing like fucking banded rows and shit, and you're seeing a guy fucking benching more than what you used to bench, and you're like, I'll be fucking pushing heavy weights. Or if a guy's fucking shoulder pressing, like probably in bad form as well, or doing like power cleans fucking really heavy, and it looks cool and sexy and fun, you're like, I want to do that. I don't want to do this fucking boring rehab shit that's definitely going to help me, but it's fucking stupid right now. It makes me feel like I'm a dumbass. No one wants to do that shit, but that's the stuff that needs to happen when you're trying to repair an injury. I had a client, so one of the other things, go on, man.
I said, take my neck, for example. Like, I didn't receive anything. I didn't do anything.
You didn't, did you? And that's a fucking crying shame, man.
Yeah, they just told me to rest. They said, hey, you can't play for at least 4 weeks. You can't have any direct contact to the head because obviously you've suffered a severe concussion. Try not to move any sudden movements with your neck, like especially going side to side. Yeah, good luck. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, obviously, you're a young teen, right? You live for playing ball, so and for training. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh well,
and play with your mates and just enjoy yourselves at the weekend by playing rugby.
Exactly. And I'm just like, well,
Mm.
and I also use training as an outlet. So I'm like, I've got training for rugby, and then I've got the actual game. And I'm like, what, you telling me I can't do any of it? I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So granted, I trained a little bit in the gym, not too much, just literally what I fucking could. Anything that I could like
But
not mess my neck up.
think about this, right? Let's say right that you had as your strength and conditioning coach, 24-year-old Alex that's on this podcast with me now, holding your hand through that and just saying, no, that like, don't worry, you'll be okay. Like, I promise you, you'll get back to playing. Just trust me, you need this time to fucking repair yourself. If you keep going back, you will hurt yourself really badly. However, if you don't do any of this, you will never play. There's a chance you couldn't play rugby again at a high enough level without serious risk of injury. Like in America, like saying before, an athlete gets injured playing high school football. He has a strength and conditioning coach more likely than not to hold his hand and say, "Don't worry, you got to be fine. You will be able to. You will be able to fucking be back before the season's done, and you will be playing. Just trust me. Just trust me on this. You will be okay." They have that. We don't.
Well,
How
we've
many
got
athletes therefore are falling victim to injuries that they probably could have got over if they'd have had the help to get over them?
oh, so fucking many, man. Like, yeah, we've got the RFU head case, which is like I think it was free, or
That's
it
a
was
fairly
like,
new thing, isn't it?
yeah, it was like 20 quid, or maybe it was free or something. I've done it. I'm actually certified. Um, as for
Ooh.
basically like concussion management. So you got like
Mm.
19 days you're supposed to have off, 14 days before you return back to like contact. And I remember getting concussed on a Sunday and then fucking training full contact on the Monday. And I'm getting
Yeah.
absolutely bollocked. They're like, oh, like Wobbs, you can't fuck it. You're dropping the ball again for fuck's sake. And I'm like, mate, I can't see the ball. Never mind, like fucking where it is, to catch it. And
Yeah, I remember. I, I've been concussed on 2 occasions playing rugby league. First one, I remember getting hit in the temple by an elbow, and I could just see colours in my right eye. It was like, in Austin Powers where they have all the fucking like wavy lines and colours and shit. I was just running about fucking, honestly, out of my right eye, I can only see colours. I was like, this is fucking. And I was like, yeah, I should probably go off here, but I have one good eye, I'll be fine. And then I was playing in Australia, and we actually had head injury assessments, and
oh wow.
I just got twatted. And I was like, and I went down, and I was like, fuck, like I just couldn't see like properly. Like, my eyes were all bad. But I had a head injury assessment test on the sidelines, which is mandatory. You get any head contact, you have to have a head injury assessment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I passed it. I should not have fucking passed that test, right? Like, I don't know how even till this day, man, I don't know how the fuck I passed that test. I went back on and I was playing standoff. Like, I went, what standoff again? What do I do? I didn't know where to stand. I didn't know what I was to tackle. Like, I was like, oh, this is, I mean, they couldn't tackle pretty that well at all before that, in fairness. But I was there like, this is, but I didn't want to put my hand up and say, kind of, I'm not okay, setting me off. I was like, well, they put me back on. They must have faith in me. And then I was like, right, I need to get off this pitch. And as soon as I got off the pitch, I went and had a beer, which isn't really good for concussions.
No, but I mean, it's it's good for your mental state though, right? Not your actual brain.
Oh yeah, at least in the short term.
In the
Like, I mean,
short
the day
term, yeah.
after, the day after, it might not be good for your mental state when you were like, last night me was such a twat. Yeah, man. Like,
I
it's not fun having fucking all of that.
Hell no, mate. And I'd absolutely love to see every school having access to a gym facility, right? And all you have to do is take a leaf out of the old Soviet GPP sort of program. So
Mm,
regardless of what sport you were doing,
that's what works.
just like what you were doing, what you said before, right? Regardless of what sport you do, you learn how to bear crawl, you jump, you run, you like row, you power clean, you squat, you deadlift,
Mhm.
you bench, you overhead press, you do unilateral stuff. And it's just like you
I've
basically
no
move your body.
Yep. I've noticed that for a lot of my sporting athletes, that are trying to get better at sports, or I should say. For a lot of my athletes, when I'm programming, common things recur. Okay, if you break down movements into simpler movements, so you break down a squat, a barbell squat, or a front squat, or a safety bar squat, or a box, whatever. It's a squat, right? You're opening your hips up. Okay, you break down a deadlift or a power clean, or actually I won't actually put a clean in that, but you go on with a deadlift, a trap bar deadlift, or a block pull, crack pull, a kettlebell swing. Those are all hip hinge movements. You go with a bench press, a shoulder press, or a push press. Those are all pressing movements, right? Like there's recurring themes and recurring sort of movement patterns that occur. What's important is picking the right ones for that athlete and for that sport. But generally speaking, those are what will break the main lifts down to. Obviously, with triple extension work, that's a whole different thing. And I will profess now, I'm not a good weightlifting coach as an Olympic weightlifting coach. So as a coaching bias, I tend not to program that kind of stuff in there unless I know I can cue it properly. Right. For example, I would never program a snatch because I haven't done my weightlifting coaching course yet to learn how to snatch properly. Okay. So I would instead go towards different movements that have similar benefits or similar sort of adaptations that come from doing a snatch. Okay. As accessory movements, I tend to program in similar things again for my athletes, to get in the sport. These tend to be bear crawls, farmers carries, sled drags, which are a fucking must for most people, prowler pushes, rope pulls, tricep extensions, because it never fucking hurts to have big triceps, right? And RDLs, those kind of things I tend to program all of them or most of them for pretty much every athlete that comes in. And it's not because like my skill set and my knowledge of exercises is down. It's far fucking from it. But what it is that these are the simple exercises that build a wide base. And as Louis Simmons said, the pyramid's only as wide as its fucking base, right? If you want to get a higher peak in your pyramid, you need to do all of these GPP, general physical preparedness exercises that build up muscle and build up a fair amount of stability and strength in order to get fucking strong and to get powerful and get dynamic and get quick and all the rest of it. At a youth level, you don't even need that much equipment. Like we said, sled drags there, we said farmers carries, yeah, absolutely. We all said bear crawls. You mentioned running, you mentioned jumping. Okay, squatting doesn't need necessarily to be with weight. You're talking about hip hinge work. A burpee actually includes a hip hinge and if done correctly, technically a triple extension, or at least a double extension if doing it properly. But if you lift and raise backwards, some would argue that's a triple extension. Okay, there's a reason I suppose in one respect why, from a condition element, CrossFit do so much fucking burpees. The carryover to a lot of triple extension work actually holds true. I think that at the bare minimum, kids should be taught how to fucking get strong and conditioned with the basic things that they have access to. And it's not actually that as hard as people would say. And then just a little bit of direction in that field means they're going to be far more likely to push themselves towards an elite level, like we said before, they're not able to do.
And it's also fun, right? Because it's fucking fun.
Oh, fuck yeah.
People like, it's more fun than, I need to go and walk on a treadmill and I'll do some fucking curls, or I'll do some like booty kickbacks or some bullshit because I've seen it on like a skinny tea advert or whatever.
Booty workout.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, but it's more fun. So people, the probability of retention for people as they get older is going to be a lot higher, right? And then you'll start addressing, physiological conditions like, fucking heart disease and all that sort of stuff, diabetes. And you can also help with the whole like mental stuff too. Like you give them an outlet to deal with some shit and get out their stress for that hour or half an hour or whatever, and then they're going to leave feeling a lot more confident, and the endorphins are going to be flowing, and they're just going to be downright happier human beings.
Well, I think right now that's actually something that I don't think a lot of kids have had the opportunity to experience, because they're far more sedentary now than they used to be. Like if you look at like what we were doing as kids, like in the daytime, we wouldn't be in the house. We'd be out playing Kirby and kicking a football about just with people that lived on our street or lived around the corner or whatever, or we'd just be on bikes and just going about the place because that's what we did. Whereas now, like I mean, I know everyone's got a PlayStation or a computer or whatever, but it has such a grip on kids' attention. It means that they're sitting down for most of the day rather than getting the fuck out of the house and moving. So your probability of heart disease and diabetes and all the things that come with it are increased because of those factors. So in the UK right now, 62% of our adult population are overweight. Of that population, 80% are over fat, and as a general population, a quarter of British people, including children, are obese. Now, those are fucking frightening statistics when you consider that the fact that the Tories have put fuck all of funding into our NHS, right? And people seem to have less and less medical resources to help them out. One of the reasons why we've been attributed to having such a high coronavirus death rate is because if you look at our people, we're too fucking fat and unhealthy as a population to overcome a lot of the symptoms that come with coronavirus. Now, I'm not trying to trivialize or diminish a lot of people that have died or had serious illnesses through getting coronavirus. I'm really not. But what I am saying is that being overweight and being obese and having a lot of the side effects that come with being those things have contributed to a lot of the coronavirus deaths. And if maybe we'd have had a slightly different attitude towards health and fitness as a population over the past 20 years since the emergence of the internet and PlayStations and Xbox and all the rest of it, maybe a lot of those deaths could have been avoided. Not all, but some. And one's better than now, right?
110%. Like if you can save one, you're gonna fucking do it. Like you're gonna do a lifetime of work to save that one person, right? And I think it goes fucking deeper.
Absolutely.
It goes fucking deeper than like, oh, we're just a fat nation. I'm like, nah, it fucking goes deeper than that because you can be healthy but just have a bit more weight on you. Like you can be a healthy individual. And it's just like, well, no, the problem is you're fucking unhealthy as shit. And like what you put in your body, like the actual nutrition you eat is like stripped of all minerals and nutrients. It's just things that aren't going to keep you satiated. It's going to jack up the blood sugar and then it's going to drop again. And then it's just like you are mentally and physically unhealthy. That's the fucking problem. Not because you're not shredded and have thick skin and have an 8-pack. No one cares.
So one of the things I recently had a bit of a rant about on Instagram video I did was I was disgusted, and I still fucking am, at how gyms are closed during the pandemic, but McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, your local takeaway, they're all open. And I'm just there thinking, well, if everyone needs to quarantine and isolate and no one can work in a close proximity, as I said, I worked in a McDonald's kitchen when I was a kid. Trust me, no fuckers there where he's wearing a mask or wearing gloves. It's fucking greasy and grim on your hands, and it's too bastard hot to wear a mask all the time. People in close proximity as well. Also, as well, how many people there? If one person has coronavirus, I'm telling you now, that shit's getting spread around. Okay, a lot of the people I work with when I worked at Mackey's are dirty bastards, and I reckon that holds true in a lot of other kitchens. Even if it's just in fucking one kitchen, man, that's going to be a problem if that's serving 1,000 people a day, which is fucking easily what they're doing, right? But as a nation, we've accepted that takeaways, McDonald's, all the rest of them can be open, but no one's kicking off about your gym being shut. No one's really like, and if they are, they're not being heard properly. It says a lot about the people in the UK that people were kicking off about not being able to get a Big Mac, but they're not being able to bench press. Right? That's a massive thing. And I don't think the government are doing anyone any favors by allowing gyms to be closed, bearing in mind that we're trying to push towards a healthier society, supposedly. But the fact that these places are staying over says to me that actually don't give a fuck about that, right? And people sat at home don't give a fuck about that. And things are only going to get worse in terms of statistics when you're looking at heart disease, obesity, strokes, diabetes, and just generally being unhealthy.
I think like information isn't the problem anymore because we live in an information world, right? This fucking information coming out of our asses.
Yeah, I'd agree with
But
that. I'd agree with
but
that. Yeah.
at the same time, the right information is definitely a problem. Like I didn't necessarily listen to everything that Boris said. He posted up some fucking like video or some shit, right? About him trying to lose weight and he gave a couple tips. And I'm just like, hang
Mm,
on a minute, mate. You're the fucking Prime Minister of the UK. You're not a fucking health expert. So don't go
mm,
giving advice out on someone else's stuff. I don't go walking into a bloody ER department, go into someone who's having triple bypass surgery and go, excuse me, I wouldn't do it that way. I'd do it this way. That's not my fucking expertise. So how about
mm,
you like turn around and go, actually, I know, you know, I'm going to say this with a pinch of salt. I know things about politics. I'm going to stay in my lane, you know.
mm.
Fitness, no, I have
I
no
mean, he
idea about
doesn't,
that.
but
Well, okay, yeah, exactly. But fitness, I have no idea about that. So I'm going to go over to the fitness scene and ask them. Oh, the hospital, I have no
mm,
idea about that. I'm going to go into the hospital and ask them. Why don't we just fucking communicate a little bit more? Because people have like, niches that they know a little bit more about rather than saying, no, I think I'm going to eat. Oh, the amount of time, right. Oh, here we go. You're going to fucking push me over the edge on a rant now. The amount of times people
mm.
come up to me like,
Go on.
Alex, I'm eating really healthy, but it's not working. And I'm like, right, okay, what you doing? I was like, I'm having this and salad and fucking this and that. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I keep going because
Salad.
there's always something, right? There's always something they're not telling you. I'm like, all
Mm,
right, cool. And they're like, no, I only drink the diet drinks. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Um, and then they go, oh yeah, so and for snacks, I'm eating nuts. And I'm like, okay, how much? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'll go through like a bag of nuts a day or every other day. And I'm like, a bag of nuts is like 700 calories, mate.
mm.
Like, but it's healthy. I'm like, oh, fuck. Can we? Yes and no. You know what I mean? Like, vitamin D is
Absolutely.
healthy. But if I stand out in the fucking sun and torch myself to oblivion, am I healthy? No. Like, you've got to be able to take things with a pinch of salt. And I'm like, it's the fucking balance, man. It's the micronutrients and it's the macronutrients and it's the caloric value too. Like I could
Mm,
consume, I could sit here, right, and do nothing all day and only eat broccoli. I know it'd be pretty boring, but I could eat like 10,000 calories worth of broccoli. I would have serious discomfort in my bowels. Like you would be on and
mhm,
off the toilet. But I could eat 10,000 calories worth of broccoli, right? And I'm still going to get fat. And people
mm.
can't get down the head. They're just like, oh no,
Absolutely. It's
like,
when Jordan Syatt, I rated it massively when he did the Big Mac challenge. When he was having a Big Mac every day for a month, but he was maintaining a calorie deficit and he lost weight. However, he said himself, a calorie is a calorie, but in the same way that a mile is a mile. But you can run a mile downhill or you can run a mile uphill. Those are different things. One's going to be better than the other, right? One's going to be easier than the other. So 100 calories sorry, let's go to the actual meal. 500 calories from a homemade chicken and veg meal, right? Where it's like it's nice, where it's a nice home cooked chicken and fucking you got maybe some sweet potato and some veg, which sounds really good, right? Or you can have 500 calories of a fucking Big Mac and fries. One has more nutritional value than the other. One nutritionally is more fucking nutritious in terms of its macronutrients and micronutrients, and also the subtle processes that have gone into making it, and some of the chemicals that have gone to preserve it. Right? Somehow, I would wager that a chicken from a farm and sweet potatoes from a farm and veg from a farm has very few chemicals in it compared to all the fucking chemicals that have gone into fucking a Big Mac and fries, right? Like one nutritionally has more value than the other, but in terms of calories, they both have 500 calories in this example, right? If you need 2,000 calories, sorry, if you have to be under 2,000 calories to be in a calorie deficit, doesn't matter if you've had 1,800 of fucking, I don't know, of Haribos or 1,800 of fucking an actual coordinated, nutritionally designed meal plan. You will still lose weight, or you'll still lose body fat, or I should say, but it's not gonna be one, sustainable, or two, beneficial for you in the from a health perspective to do the former than the latter, right? You need to actually take note and take heed of what nutritional value is and how to actually incorporate proper nutrition as part of your diet, as well as being in calorie deficit or calorie surplus, depending on what your goals are. So I always say to people, right, this is my motto: nutrition is simple, dieting is what's fucking difficult, right? So nutritional principles are fucking easy. They're the simplest thing in the world, man. They're not complicated, and a proper nutritionist won't say something to you that's overcomplicated. So if you ever hear a personal trainer or a coach, say in inverted commas, talking to their clients or talking to you and giving a diet plan, and this diet sounds complicated as fuck, and they're using loads and loads of big words that you've never heard about, fucking ignore them, because they're chatting shit. More often than not, they're chatting bollocks. Tell you now, nutrition is not fucking hard. It's not fucking complicated. It is really simple. If you want to lose weight, just be in a calorie deficit. If you want to put weight on, be in a calorie surplus. If you want to have a healthy amount of, if you want to be healthy, then you have to take heed of what types of foods you're eating. And you fucking know, if you're eating loads of chocolate, right, and eating loads of fucking takeaways, you know you're not being healthy. As you said before, we're in an information age. That is how it fucking works. You know as well, if you're preparing your meals and making chicken and brown rice, or that's actually a shit example, so I fucking hate that. If you're making chicken and veg, fucking like having healthy salmon, fucking healthy fish, healthy fucking like meats, and loads of nice fucking good-looking, colourful foods that come with it, i.e. veg and fucking these decent-looking carbohydrates, you know that's healthy. All you got to do is count your calories, and to depend on whether you want to gain or lose weight, and you'll be absolutely fine. The reason why I say dieting is hard is because it's far too easy to go for those unhealthy options than to go for the healthy options. Dieting may involve you preparing your food at the start of the week. It may mean batch cooking a footload of food and making 30 meals at the start of the week. That's boring, it's time consuming, and during the week, it's fucking so monotonous. Fucking, same meal again, is it? Fair enough, I've got to do that. But here's the thing, right? And I genuinely mean this. If you're not prepared to do the work and put the work into your diet to make actual changes to your body, then the goals you want, you don't deserve them. Okay? If you're doing all those things and you're not getting the results, chances are you do deserve it. You just need to give it a bit more time, or there's something we're not doing properly right now that we need to address. But if you're not prepared to actually spend time and invest in your diet and actually do the fucking hard work that people who have got your goals have been doing more often than not, right? Obviously, some people are crazy genetics, and you don't fucking deserve them. And I'm sorry, that's just the way shit is. And a lot of coaches won't fucking tell you that shit because they'll want to fucking take your money and just keep telling you what you want to hear. But that's fucking how it is. You want to lose weight, you got to put the fucking work in. You want to gain weight, you got to put the fucking work in. Not just in the gym, but in the kitchen.
I could not agree more, mate.
Set me on around now, mate.
And the thing is, like, people, at their job, right? At their fucking job, they know that they need to work hard to get a promotion or whatever. Hard work works, as you see me hashtag and say all the time, as they're like the fucking
all the time, man. Hard work works.
Hard work works. It doesn't matter what you're fucking doing. If you work hard, it will fucking work. Like, whether that door works, this door works, or it creates an opportunity, or you find someone that gives you an opportunity, or whatever, hard work fucking pays off. Hard work works.
Absolutely, man.
It comes into the whole nutrition scene. It's like, but I mean, I've been trying. It's not working. How long have you been trying? 3 days. 3 days. I was like, when was the last time you ate something healthy, or when was the habit started? Oh, it started maybe 30 years ago. All right, okay, cool. So you've had 30 years of shit habits, and after 3 days, you're complaining that it's not worked. Come on, man. Like, you're stepping on my toes and slapping me in the face here. Like, come on, like.
One of my clients at the moment is I want to use him as an example. He's fantastic, right? He's 18 years old, and he came into the gym at 51 kilos and very, very skinny, and obviously unhappy with the way he looks, and he's not feeling very strong, and a lot of clothes aren't really fitting him. This guy, I said we simplified it. I'll say how we simplified his diet first of all. This guy, 51 kilos. I looked at what his diet and it was clear he has an unhealthy relationship with food. Okay, he only would eat certain things and he would only eat a certain amount of things, which to be honest with you wasn't enough. So at that point, what do you do as a coach? Do you give him a complicated diet plan straight away with loads of different targets, or do you go to one target that you know he can hit? You go to the latter, right? Like all I did at the very beginning was I wrote a plan for myself of what I wanted him to do in the long term, and I also decided what I wanted to do in the short term. In the short term, I decided, right, this kid needs to build up his relationship with food. One of the relationships he had with food that was bad was he wasn't eating enough. So I just said to him, first of all, just eat more in the day. Don't care what you eat. I just want you to eat more in the day. It could be literally anything, right? That was the short-term goal. That's something that I know he can hit. The next thing I did was I said, I want you to eat more meat. So I want you to have one more item of meat a day than you've been having. One easy target for him to hit. He hits it. Easy. Cool. Nice. Next thing, protein target. I said, right, I want you to have 120 grams of protein a day. Smashes that, no problem. I knew he was going to smash it. But because I knew he was going to smash it, I knew he was going to have that, I fucking achieve something. I can keep going here. So then we upped his target and we upped his protein target, right? This kid isn't even, this kid isn't even halfway through his actual the actual stage of his diet, and he's already put 6 kilos on, right? He's already 6 kilos heavier, which is what, 15 pounds, right? Yeah. And this is in the space of 2.5 months. Okay, now some people be like, well, that's 10 weeks. He's only put on 15 pounds. It's like, no, it's 10 weeks. He's put on 15 pounds, right? And we're only halfway through the stage of his diet. The next thing he's got to do is he's got to have a calorie target. Okay, now he's probably already been hitting his calorie target, so I'm probably going to up it a little bit for him, give him a little bit more to strive for. Then he'll probably hit that. Then we're going to start adding nutritional value to his diet. Then we're going to start teaching him how to meal prep. Then we're going to introduce new foods to him and teach him how to have an eclectic, more balanced diet. And all of a sudden, he'll put on, say, 40 pounds. He'll be feeling quite muscular and he'll feeling less self-conscious. Like, shit, I know what to do now. And this is another thing that I was mentioning before, right? If you ever hear a coach overcomplicating something to you in terms of diet or in terms of anything, fuck them off, because they're shit. They don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
It's not, training and nutrition are not hard concepts. They're not overcomplicated concepts. They're just difficult to do in practice. Like, getting stronger is fucking simple. Okay. As speaking as a powerlifter, as a strength and conditioning coach, I'll tell you now, those are simple. However, they're really hard to do. They're emotionally tasking. They're physically tasking. Okay. They're fucking frustrating and shit when you're not feeling like you're hitting the numbers you should be hitting yet. But as a concept, it's really, really simple. The best strength coach in the world, and in my opinion, the best strength coach in the world, Louis Simmons, will always fucking say that the simplest stuff is what works, right? If you hear a coach overcomplicate shit, they're shit at what they're doing. I promise you that. Ignore them. Move on, right?
People are what make it complicated, mate. Like,
absolutely, I agree. I agree with that, man. Absolutely, it is people that make it complicated, and some people who are trying to help, or who are supposed to trying to help other people, shouldn't be helping them if they're overcomplicating shit, because that isn't helping them, right? It's giving them too much that they can't achieve, and that's not helping them at all. Think about that what I was saying about my client. Everything was really, really simple. It was achievable. It was one thing at a time for him to focus on, and he understood it was a long-term process. It's an ongoing process that's probably not going to be completed for a very, very long amount of time. It's probably not going to have a good the relationship with food I want him to have, and that you and I have with food, because we fucking got a good relationship with food, right? You more than most, right? He's probably not going to have that for a while. But when he has that, and here's the key thing that coaches miss: when he has that relationship, when he's learned how to be good with food and how to train, he will not need me anymore. That is my job done. Every single coach's aim should be to make themselves obsolete to their clients by educating them throughout the whole process. If they're not doing that, then fuck them off. If your coach is not educating you, even without you realizing, think about it. Is my coach teaching me what to do? Is my coach teaching me how to mobilize, how to warm up properly, how to lift properly? Is he teaching me why I'm doing these exercises? Is he teaching me proper cueing? Am I getting stronger with him? Am I understanding why I've gotten stronger? Is he teaching me how to get better at my diet? Is he teaching me how to have a better relationship with food? I keep saying the word he. I'm not saying girls can't be coached. I'm just using me as an example, right?
Yeah.
Do I know what I'm doing? Do I know what I'm doing? Do I know how to do this without his help? Yeah, I do. And I said to one of my clients, right? I said to him, he's called Lee. He came into me and he had a torn rotator cuff, bad lower back, right? He's 40 years old, played football, did Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he couldn't do those things because he was fucking in absolute agony all the time, right? Couldn't fucking stand up straight, and he was about 2 stone overweight. We trained before lockdown, and I taught him what to do without him even realizing it. Because then when lockdown happened, I actually lost his contact information because my phone broke, and I didn't know his last name, because I already just knew him by his first name. I just always called him, oh, it's Lee, right? And at that point, it was a learning curve for me, get all of the information. Okay, this is quite early on in my coaching career in comparison. And I was like, oh, shit. Anyway, I ended up finding his contact information, right? It took me a bit of thinking. It was actually 2 months that had passed. He had done all the things I had taught him before without me having to fucking prompt him to do it, because he just knew what to do because I taught him how to do it. Your role as a coach should be to teach a client what to do without needing you, okay? Because at some point, they're not, if at some point they're realistically not going to be able to train anymore. Things happen, things change, people move, people can't afford you anymore. But if you've done your job right, that client will continue to thrive long after they parted ways with you. And at that point, they will always have a good relationship with you. If you're not doing that, if you're trying to not educate your client and keep them in the dark, chances are you're doing it because you know that you're either not got much more scope to grow your business as a personal trainer or as a coach, or you're quite insecure as a coach. Mm-hmm. And if you are, then you need to do a fair bit of soul searching and a fair bit of personal development before you should continue coaching, in my opinion.
Coaching is one of those professions where like personal development, philosophy, stoicism, all that type of shit is like needed before you've even scratched the surface of the craft. You've not even learned any of the stuff that you're going to be a coach in or teaching. You're not even learned about how to deal with people. You're just figuring out what the fuck is inside your own head and your own chest, right? And it's literally your goal is to graduate yourself into a counselor. It sounds really daft, right? Because you're just like, well, I'm a coach.
No, I fully agree.
I fucking do this. I'm fitness, blah, blah, blah. But then you're no longer, you've taught them everything that they need to know. They move away, you move away, whatever. Good example is me. I've left. And then people still message me asking for advice, counseling, whether it's, can you look at this technique on this movement, which is sound, still in the fitness realm, or it's like, oh, Alex, like this has happened and I kind of entrust you because you've proven to me several times that you clearly give a fuck about who I am. So I want to know your 2 piece on it. You know what I mean? And it's funny because
I will say this, man. Like I know certainly at the very least as a movement coach, you're absolutely fantastic at what you do. You're very, very good at what you do. Like when it comes to breaking down Olympic weightlifting movements in particular, I think it's your forte. And there's a reason why so many people benefit from that, and will continue to benefit from that. You are very good at what you do, and he is. Check out what he actually does on his Instagram. He's very good at what he does. I think he did today on the drop snatch versus snatch balance was fantastic. Like just to see the differences as simply as possible, and then from that, a lot of people could actually understand it because he do look very, very similar. A drop snatch and a snatch balance look really, really similar when not really shown the difference between them. And I think like you touched on something that was really, really cool, like that I've said for you for a long time. I know you too. There's a difference between a personal trainer and a coach, and you should know what you're paying for. Okay, if you want a personal trainer, in my opinion, from what I've seen, and yes, it's semantic, but a personal trainer to me is someone that operates in the gym and nowhere else. Okay, they don't make themselves available to their clients outside the gym, even if you call themselves personal training and they do. This is generally what I find. So yeah, personal trainers for me are people that just operate inside a gym and don't really do much help with their clients outside the gym. Whereas a coach is someone that is far more holistic and makes themselves available to their clients when they're not doing that 1 hour training session with them, right? A coach is someone that actually invests in their clients' mental, physical, and social well-being, and does all they can to make sure they thrive in each of them, both in the gym and outside. Okay, I have regular updates with my clients during the week. At least I'll have a 1 hour video chat with them, or half hour sometimes. They kick me off a bit early, but I'll make sure that I speak to them. But even if I don't arrange the conversation with them, they always have access to me, unlimited. I say unlimited because they can text me as many times as they want on as many different issues as they want, and it can range from anything from having. I mean, I've got one client who has very particular psychological needs, we say, and that person will message me and be like, I'm having a really shit day, and it's making me want to not do my diet. It's making me not want to train. It's making me not want to go for work. I just want to stay in my bed and not fucking move. And I then be a therapist, like I said before, and just help that person and coach them and just help them get out of that routine and get back into a more positive routine. Equally, I have loads of clients who a common thing is feeling kind of sore today, and I don't want to feel this sore. What can I do? And then we go through mobility work, we go through recovery routines together. Okay. Now, if I don't text them back or ring them back straight away, I fucking always will ring them back or text them back. Okay. That's why it's unlimited. Whereas a personal trainer, again, it's semantic. If you're a personal trainer who does all this, I apologize. This is just how I see it, and I'm just trying to highlight the difference for Alex's listeners. A personal trainer tends to be someone that only operates in the gym, and to me, therefore, a personal trainer is not worth anywhere near as much as a coach when you're paying for their services.
110%. Could not agree more. Could not agree more. And I've been fucking shouting that from the rooftops for I don't know how many years. And it's hard to see, right? If you've only ever trained inside of a commercial gym, and we're not trying to talk down on that or shit on anyone's lap or anything like that.
No, of course not, man. Of course not.
If it works, it works. Like there's a reason why it's there. It's there because it works. And if it works for you, you fucking crack on. Like, hats off to you. You're in the gym, you're working hard, and you're doing something for your physical and mental well-being, right? However, coaching is completely different. And when someone calls themselves a coach, and I'll see it, right, and I'm like, well, you say a lot, but aren't willing to do the things that you're saying, really shits on our craft, and it really like grinds my gears to the fact of, hey, if you're not going to do it, don't fucking say it. Like, don't have the audacity to
devalues
say,
as an industry.
Hey,
it devalues us as an industry.
It does. I just look at it as the emotional response of fuck you, don't do that sort of thing. But yes, you with being the cleverer of the two.
I actually think that the sister, you're the bigger one out of the two, but I can deadlift more, by the way.
It's true.
If he can squat more though, and he squats high bar like a proper person rather than like a shitty low bar powerlifter that I am.
Mate, I still remember I was like 15 kilos heavier than you one time, and you had something daft like 50 kilos on my deadlift or something silly.
Yeah, that was funny.
Something
was cool,
silly, man.
But at the time, my squat was lagging behind a fair bit. Those were the early days of my my lifting career, though, man. No, like what I think that systematically without the industry really trying to, we've you and I as coaches have had our value weakened because of what's happening in the industry. And I've wanted to talk about this for the whole fucking hour and a half. So thanks, fuck people waiting for this long. If you're still listening to this and you've not like switched us off so you can watch Pornhub, like credit to you. And especially if you're doing this whilst you're driving and if usually would wank off whilst driving, like well done for not doing, because that's a hazard. This is probably a better decision for you to do by listening to us.
If you're still listening, send Barbells and Noise a DM with the middle finger emoji.
Yeah, please do, and I'll
please do.
like or send me like something positive because I'm a positive person. No, sorry. I was gonna say, in the UK right now, if you want to be a personal trainer, if you want to work coaching other people, all you need is a level 3 personal training qualification. These qualifications make it like pretty much what every commercial and what most independent gyms will look for minimum if you'd start coaching there. Particularly the low budget commercial gyms will look for these. Now, caveat, I'm not saying that if you only have a level 3 personal training qualification, that you're not going to be a good coach. Okay, I know several people, and I'm sure there are many more, that only have this qualification, and they're fucking fantastic. They're absolutely phenomenal at what they do, and they should continue to do it because they're just right for the job, right? Equally, I know loads of people that have more than just a level 3 personal training qualification, including a sports-related degree, and they're fucking shit at what they do because they don't actually help the clients properly. Okay, like they teach movement wrong. They don't teach clients how to mobilize and recover effectively, and I see a lot of the clients not really performing that well because they've actually not taught those things because they don't fucking know them themselves. Those people and anyone. Sorry, backtrack a little bit. However, what I'm saying is there is a correlation between a lack of experience and a lack of education as to being a coach and your performance as a coach. Okay, obviously. Okay. And more what's happening is we're getting less and less highly experienced, highly trained, highly educated personal trainers, and more often than not, just getting more and more trainers that happen to have a level 3 personal training qualification. Okay, which means that we're getting more and more. Not everyone, by the way, that population is bad for PT, but we're getting more and more PTs that in reality don't know what they're doing, flooding into our gyms. And if you know anything about supply side and labour market, so there's an economics degree, you'll know that an increase in supply of labour reduces the average wage. Not only that, right? So not only are you and I therefore making less money because as an industry standard, there's too many PTs for us to compete with. Not only that, but there's too much choice now for potential clients. A potential client doesn't know whether to use you or me or any one other of the 18 personal trainers that happen to be in a local gym that may have a word relating to purity in front of it or the collective pronoun, not pronoun, synonym. I'm going for group, right? The gym group, right? Like a place like that, like they tend to have a lot of PTs that have only just qualified with level 3. You don't know who to fucking go for. They all say they do the same thing because they have to, so that you fucking might just look at them. They all say they do fat loss. They all say they do strength. They all say they do fucking. They all say they do like conditioning and fucking. You'll get some that are like, I can help you with boxing and that, and I've done a kettlebell course and shit. Little things that make them stand out. However, what they're basically getting there for is a lack of specializations from coaches. Okay, now specializations is you should go for a coach that is a specialist in their field. So here's an ideal scenario for me. 67%, so 2/3 of PTs and coaches in this industry, in my opinion, should fuck off, right, and not return. Because as industry standard, I think there's too much dead wood. Now, I will openly say this now. I am not the best PT or the best coach. I'm far from it. I know 1,000 coaches that are better. I know many coaches that are better than me, yourself included. I know a lot of people that know a lot more than I do as a coach. Okay, I'm fucking cool with that. I openly admitted before that I don't know that much about Olympic weightlifting. However, I'm learning. Okay, because I'm trying to get better at doing that so that I can increase the amount of fucking strength in my bow and be maybe be a more holistic and versatile coach. But I know that the stuff from the results my clients get and the overall attitude I have to each of and every one of my clients and how much I make myself available as a coach that I'm above the prerequisite requirements in my head and in most coaches' heads that are worth the weight in salt. I know I'm above that requisite, right? So I'm doubtful that I will go. When you take away all the bad coaches and all the bad PTs, trust me, I will be nowhere near halfway or the top of what compared to some of the fucking fantastic and phenomenal coaches that this industry is lucky to have. But right now, there are far too many bad personal trainers and bad coaches operating that are fucking taking a lot of our clients away. Now, what should happen? You're a weightlifting specialist, let's say. I'm a powerlifting specialist, let's say. Someone else is a fat loss specialist, and there are fat loss specialists that are much better at doing fat loss than the average personal trainer. They're fucking fantastic. Okay. If say we have a client come in, three clients come in, one person wants to powerlift, one person wants to weightlift, one person wants to lose a load of body fat. Okay. We can easily allocate them to the correct coach. If they come into the gym and there's only one powerlifting specialist, one weightlifting specialist, one fat loss, one S&C coach, one boxing coach, whatever it is, we can effectively allocate each client to said coach, or they can just choose themselves. You get a far more efficient allocation of resources, and that therefore increases and optimizes the experience of that client, because they're having the correct coach to teach them the correct fucking things and to get to their desired goal. If you, let's say, for example, you're the weightlifting coach and I'm the powerlifting coach, right? Probably an easy thing. And we get someone come in, wants to powerlift, wants to weightlift. I get the weightlifter, you get the powerlifter. How many more kilos do you reckon you could have added to that weightlifter's snatch than I could have? How many more kilos do you reckon I could have added to that powerlifter's bench than you could have? There's a massive difference. But what's happening now is, because there's too many fucking PTs and too many coaches, is that we're all fucking fighting for every single client that comes through the door, as it looks like, especially in little gyms. So potential clients are overwhelmed with all these PTs, don't need to choose, and more often than not, they choose the wrong one. I'll give you an example of the wrong one. When I was at Pure, I worked with a lad who was a specialist in all these things. He wasn't, right? Now, this guy was supposedly a specialist in fat loss, okay? And one person I recall who was working with him one day, job being trained by him, asked him the question, I don't know what I'm doing with my diet. Can you please help me? Now, if I hadn't asked that question, I said, absolutely, of course we can. What particularly do you need help with? What can we do to correct your issue? This guy said, no. He said, I can't help you. And the guy went, oh, why not? He went, well, because you're not paid for that package. And at that point, I'm like, fucking leave your job now, because you shouldn't be doing it. Okay? You're not a good coach, because you don't actually want to help this person. You want to make money out of him. Now, I'm all for PTs making money. I'm all for coaches making a living. I'm all for fucking every single person in this industry becoming a millionaire, especially if they've done it properly. But the client comes first. That client being helped should always come first. Okay, not to the point where you're making no money, but not to the point where you're trying to extort more out of them. Now, this guy, as it turned out, I actually had a chat with later on. He was a student that had come over from what's he fucking called now? What's that called? Algeria. That's one. He come over from Algeria, which isn't a particularly rich country, and this guy didn't have much money, and he just didn't understand what to eat, because he come from a different culture where they ate different things, and he just happened to have very little experience and very little knowledge of British food and didn't know what to eat. So he wasn't making any progress with his diet. Or he also didn't have any fucking money, because he was a foreign student. So I just had a conversation and I said, hey, this is what I think you should do if you want to think it. I just felt sorry for the lad. But that is a symptom of an industry that's getting worse and worse, because it's becoming easier and easier to become a PT. Now, in my opinion, if you want to be a PT, you should go through loads of fucking hoops, not all financial.
Yeah,
There should be more exams, more education for you to go through, because if you're being a personal trainer or being a coach, what you're effectively doing is you're changing the way someone's body either works or looks. The only other person that does that, so the only other profession that does that is a fucking surgeon. Difference is, if you're a surgeon, it happens immediately. If you're a personal trainer or a coach, it takes weeks and months and years sometimes. Right? Now, I'm not saying, right? That's how it fucking works. There's us, coaches, and surgeons. We're the only ones that change the way someone looks cosmetically or the way they work physiologically. We're the only two, right? If you want to be either of those, you should do a lot of education. You have to do a lot of education if you want to be a fucking surgeon. If you want to be a coach, therefore, you should have to go through a lot of fucking education. Okay? And that education should be free, in my opinion, because I don't think money should limit people. But you should have to go through it on the fucking less.
I agree.
And if you don't, that's how it should be. That's how it should be in my opinion. And I'm all for doing that. And again, if you've only got a level 3 and you're awesome at your job, cool. Keep doing what you're doing. You're fantastic. But if you think back to all the things we've talked about in this, making things simple, invest in your client, giving them unlimited access to you outside the gym, fucking admitting when you don't know stuff as a coach, like I did before, admitting that you need to do more work and you know there are people that are better than you, not being totally orientated about money and just wanting your clients to not need you anymore at some point in their life. If you're not doing those 10 things that I think I just counted on my fingers, right? If you're not doing those, either start fucking doing them or kindly piss off and stop fucking PTing.
I think eventually it will sieve out the shit, and that's just the way it's going to be. You know what I mean? And I do agree with you with the fact of we need tighter qualifications, and I think more like work experience within the industry. Like it's an industry that you need a massive base knowledge, but also like it's I've got a saying, right? You teach the movement, but you coach the individual, and coaching the individual is where it's hard, right? The fucking teaching a movement.
Yeah.
Everyone can learn how to teach a deadlift. Everyone can learn how to teach a snatch.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone can learn how to fucking do nutrition. But coaching the fucking person in front of you is one of the hardest things you can do. Because like you said, you're trying to change the way their body looks or change the way their body works. And I think, I think over time it will get to that. But it kind of lies on our shoulders to provide good information and be like, hey, this is a more optimal way of doing it. This is a better cue to use, or try this. And hey, there's no one way to skin a cat. Try them all, see what works for the person in front of you. And I think,
dude, I coach 3 lads together, and I give them. They all have their own deadlift, squat, and bench cues. Okay, because they all need different cues. So one guy, for example, like I tell him, knees over the midline of your foot when you're squatting. Okay, because he always has a habit of trying to push his knees in when he comes down. So he has to like concentrate on keeping his knees in straight lines on the way down, right, to keep his hips at their optimal level of sort of openness. There's a better word than openness somewhere, right, in the dictionary. Whereas the other guy that trains with him, I often say squeeze the floor, right? Because that's what works for him to get his knees open and to therefore open his hips. The other guy doesn't actually need much cue on that. He's actually fantastic at just getting his hips open, right? But those, so you can see there, they're doing the exact same session, the exact same lift on a similar weight, but they've got completely different cues of how to do the same thing because they're different people. You teach the movement, you coach the individual. That is a fucking fantastic thing. I love that.
Thank you, sir. Mate,
I think
I'm gonna have to shoot off because I've got a meeting in 15 minutes.
Lovely, man. That's absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's actually just midnight here, and I think I'm keeping my girlfriend awake. He's in the other room, so I think he's going to shout me. Quick question before you go. This is your 100th podcast. Who would you like to have on the show at some point?
I want everyone, man. Like I am very aware that we come from a very, very working class place. I got a very small blonde mind. I'm always up for learning. So I want to have conversations with people from all walks of life, right? I'd even, like Denzel Washington, Will Smith, people in those caliber, I would love to have a conversation with. If we want to keep it in the fitness realm, I'd love to have a conversation with Ross Edgley. I think that bloke is a fucking
That'd be
legend.
amazing.
Eddie
His book,
Hall.
The Fittest Book on Earth, is brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant book. I want to read his Art of Resilience.
Yeah,
I keep meaning to borrow it off a good mate of mine here, but like it takes me forever to read because I'm not the greatest readers. Eddie Hall, Chris Hemsworth. I really want Brittany Diamond on, which would be
She's a
absolutely
porn
incredible.
star. That is such a porn star name. That really is such a porn star. Sorry, Brittany. Like I know who you are, but that is definitely a porn star name. Come on. Like when your parents named you, they were definitely picturing you doing certain scenes at some point in your life.
I have to say the best porn star name of a UK person has got to be Chelsea.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you're Chelsea, you're probably in line to do an anal shoot.
Yeah, just don't name your kid Chelsea, please, because especially it doesn't
No,
sound
plus
right
as
in
well.
our accent either. Chelsea, like
No,
it sounds
Chelsea.
absolutely nasty.
I don't care about the other blokes, Chelsea. I just want you back.
It sounds like a fucking Oasis lyric or something.
Yeah, fucking hell. Who looks at the kid and just goes Chelsea? Right, let's call it that. There's some other shit names, man. There's
who looks at a kid and calls it Dave?
You leave Dave's mum and dad alone, right?
No, but who looks at like a newborn child and was like, you know what, you're gonna be called Dave?
I think a lot of them just like call it David, and then it makes his own mind up. And then have you heard about that kid that was called Sparrow, but its mum and dad hasn't given it a gender yet, right? But so that's why I've called it Sparrow, and I'm like, you can't name it after a fucking TV pirate, right? You just can't. All the way names Destiny. Fucking one of my favorite jokes that is like, imagine being named after the nightclub you were conceived in, and that's from Kevin Bridges.
Showbar.
Yeah, man. Fucking Magic Eye Show, yeah. Shout out to Showbar in Warrington.
Shout
42's in Manchester.
42's is the best one.
Yeah, shout out to 42. Do you reckon like if we give 42's another shout out, they'll give us they'll give us actually no, I don't want to you on there. It's fucking grim.
Look,
it's full of kids that are like 19 and I'm 24 now, which is old.
I'm still wanting a hunting down a chocolate milk sponsorship, mate. You know what I mean? I will.
Yeah, you love your chocolate milk, you mate.
I will not promote it because I'm not a dirty sellout, but I will drink copious amounts of chocolate milk and I will fuel my sessions from it. And get a chocolate milk fridge. So please send me any and all chocolate milks.
I'll do my best.
And
I did not have it in New Zealand, no.
Yeah, they got loads,
I forgot like all the. Yeah, I forgot all the animals. All the animals in New Zealand are fucking not for milking.
They're all grass fed over here, mate. It's incredible. It's fucking nuts. Everything's grass fed.
That is actually fucking awesome. Rather than a lot of the pros of shit that happened here.
Even the humans, they're just out there chomping on the front garden. Anyway, right, I got 10 minutes. Peace and love, brother.
Yo, awesome podcast, man. Peace, love, dude. See you later on, bro.
Take it easy.
Awesome love, man. Take it easy, guys. See you later on. Bye-bye.
Peace.